The best decision in my life was to return to the farm 3 days before the zombie invasion. Then my old classmate, the owner of the household store in the city, still laughed at me. The student returned to dig in the ground. Not shameful, but who would have thought that 72 hours later, this rundown farm, on which everyone looked from high, will become the only refuge for many kilometers around. And what I never expected was that the store owner who laughed at me will, kneeling at the farm gate, begging to be let in. And this hoe in my hands, left over from my grandfather, will become the most reliable weapon at the end of the world. At the beginning of June, 3 days before the Manchung season, I was dragging my suitcase and standing on the inner city bus station in Qingshan town. There was still a message from the HR manager on the phone. From the company, the last thing he sent me, compensation transferred to your account. All the best. Years old, and I'm unemployed. My savings are almost zero. Such was my position. My name is Zhang Yuan. The farm is located in the valley of, west of the city. There are 8 kilometers from the winding mountain dirt road. Not a single taxi driver wanted to go to such a wilderness. I had to get on a 3-wheeler. The motorcycle of one of the locals was shaking all the way. Dust stood like a pillar. I covered my mouth and nose, but my soul was full of road dust. 3 months ago, my grandfather died, an inheritance that he didn't leave. This is a farm in the 30s. And also his words, if you don't take root in the city, come back to plow the land. At that time, I was still working for an internet company in provincial capital, product manager. Salary, 15,000. I thought I had a bright future. Who knew that the company would collapse so suddenly, and our entire department will be fired in one fell swoop? The farm gate was made of rusty sheets. Gland. When I pushed them, they made a deafening noise. Grinding. The view took my breath away. The weeds have grown so large that there is no road left. And a follower model. In the adobe walls of a 100-year-old house, one could see several noticeable cracks. The tiles on the roof are so thin that gaps have appeared, but the internal beams did not bend. The door fell off halfway. 30 Muritsa fields were completely desolate. Last year's straw still lay in the fields. It is all overgrown with weeds. The water level in the fish pond dropped by more than 1 meter. Black silt was exposed, which smelled of rot. I put the bags down, and he plopped down on the stone bench at the entrance. This is the inheritance that I got. The phone rang. It was Mom. You arrived like a farm. Everything is fine. I lied. That's it. And good. Grandfather from heaven will protect you. Your move. The king must make a move, otherwise, checkmate. I hung up the phone. I was looking at this farm looking like ruins. Only 10 days left, or surrender. Right now, go back to the city and send out again. Summary, or clench your teeth and hold on. At least once. I got up and entered the old house. A cloud of dust hit my face. I coughed and sneezed several times. Grandfather's things were still on the desk. Table. Next to his reading glasses lay a fat diary. I opened the diary. On the first page it was written, March 15th, 1990. Year. Today is sowing season. Neat handwriting. Kept notes about 30 years of agriculture. When to sow, when to fertilize, how much rain there was, what the harvest was like. Each page was filled with neat handwriting, like a textbook on agronomy, but what struck me most was, this is a diary insert, a hand-drawn map. Terrain. Every detail was marked on the map in detail. Farms. The area is surrounded on 3 sides by mountains. The only entrance and exit is from the east direction. The flow of the underground river near the western mountain. Specified. Even the composition of the soil in each field. In the corner of the topographic cards, grandfather made a special note with a red pen. In summer, during rainstorms, the flow of an underground river. Western mountain intensifies. Upstream old acacia. Below is a wooden gateway. It can be controlled. Flow of water. This place is surrounded on 3 sides by mountains. In the east there is Aiku. In the west there is an underground river. In troubled times, you can take refuge here. What does the nose look like? Last entry in the diary. Dated a week before his death. Yuan, if you see this, it means you're back. This land is not. We'll let down the one who cares about her. The upstream lock should be checked regularly. Ian, at the decisive moment, it can save lives. At the decisive moment. What a decisive moment. I shook. Head. In his old age, the grandfather began to talk a little, constantly. Said some strange things. The next morning, I went to the village on my grandfather's old tractor Dongfanghong. This device is at least 20 years old when it starts. Black smoke is pouring out of the chimney. The roar of the diesel engine is deafening. Everyone in the village knows this tractor. Seeing that I was driving, gossip immediately began. So, this is the grandson of old man Zhang. They say things didn't work out for him in the city. The student turned around to plow the fields. What a shame. I drove by with a straight face and stopped at the store. Agricultural products. The owner of the store, seeing me, pulled the attendant. Smile. Ah, Xiaozhong, will you buy seeds? Seeds are cheap this year. The townsfolk no longer return to plow the land. They say there is some kind of contagious disease. What exactly? It is known, but in the provincial capital they are strict about this. I figured out how much I needed. On the 30th land, 150 zeni of seeds for each, for 1,500 zeni. So much. Let's see if I can handle it alone. Having bought the seeds, I also took complex fertilizers and pesticides and another 20 liters of diesel fuel. The money is almost gone. I pushed the car, getting ready to leave, hear from the household. Zhang Yuan's voice came from the store. I turned around and saw his school classmate, Wang Can. He leaned on the counter. With a grin on his face, he said, I heard you got fired, ha ha ha. I told you, what was the point of studying so much? Anyway, he returned to plow the land, if only. If your grandfather knew what his grandson had come to, I would be rolling over in my grave. I didn't pay attention to him. I continued pushing the car. Wait, another voice called out to me. It was Auntie Zhao from the veterinary station. She was over 40, very kind woman. She handed me a paper parcel. This is snake powder. There are a lot of snakes in the mountains, scatter around the house. And here is this insect repellent. Dilute with water and spray. Thank you, Aunt Zhao. Your grandfather was a good man. He helped me a lot at one time. If you need anything, speak up. Don't be shy. It was already getting dark when I returned to the farm. I sat alone on a stone bench and ate instant noodles. Preparations. Flipped through Grandpa's diary. Judging by the records, planting seedlings needs to be completed before the onset of Manchung season. The distance between seedlings is 20 centimeters. Depth, 3 fingers. It is necessary to fertilize early in the morning when the dew will dry out, so the fertilizers are better absorbed. The weeds need to be uprooted, otherwise the spring wind will come again. We'll give them life. Looking at these detailed notes, I suddenly realized my grandfather, he dedicated his entire life to this land. His soul is put into every word. 10 o'clock in the evening, dogs were barking everywhere. Barking dogs are common in the village, but today, something was wrong. They were barking somehow anxiously, as if they warned about something. And then, suddenly, all the dogs fell silent. Dead silence. Such silence gives me goosebumps. The phone vibrated. A message from a neighbor in the dorm. A murky video that appears to have been filmed in secret. There is a crowd of people at the entrance to the hospital. Someone fell to the ground and convulsed. People around are screaming. I just wanted to ask what happened, like the video. Deleted. What's happened? I typed it. One word came in response, run. And that's all. Messages are not sent. The send icon is constantly spinning. Bad connections are common here. I didn't pay much attention to it. But my soul was still uneasy. I remembered one phrase from grandfather's diary. At the decisive moment, this can save a life. I took a flashlight and walked towards the western mountain in the dark, following marks on the map. I walked along the path for about 20 minutes, and I definitely saw a huge acacia tree. Everything under the tree was overgrown with weeds. I raked them with a hoe, and a wooden one appeared. Look. The hatch was old. The wood had turned black with age, but the structure itself was still intact. Nearby, a rusty iron ring hung, probably to pull the hatch. I tried to pull. Didn't move a millimeter. Looks like it needs some serious repairs. Did a few photos on your phone to remember the place, at least. I didn't know why this was needed, but my grandfather's drawing. I didn't lie. When I returned to the old house, I laid down on my grandfather's bed, inhaling the familiar smell of a straw mat. The moon is shining brightly outside the window, silhouettes of distant mountains. This is land. This is a farm. Maybe it really will become a new beginning for me. The next day I woke up very early, was going to start clearing the rice fields. I had barely stepped out of the threshold when I heard from the direction of the town car horns. Not one or two cars, but many, and they were getting closer. I climbed onto the roof and looked towards the town, on the highway at high speed. Don't get off the long border of cars, raising clouds. Dust. Several SUVs were driving ahead and behind them. A variety of cars. There were more than 10 of them in total. They drove very quickly, in a great hurry. It was as if they were running for their lives. My heart jumped. It was the third day of the zombie invasion. The town experienced interruptions in water and electricity. All communication was also completely lost. People broke into supermarkets and stole all the food. The shelves were knocked over on the floor. Screams and crying were heard in the streets every now and then. I rode my bike into town to get supplies, only to find that people had erected barricades at every intersection. They had knives and sticks in their hands. Their gazes were full of hostility. The neighbor who just yesterday greeted me with a smile, with me today because of a few bags of grain, stood at my threshold with a knife in his hand. His gaze was frighteningly cold. I clutched the hoe tighter in my hands, pressing my back to the gate of the old grandfather's lady. Palms were sweating. Only one thought was racing in my head. Who can now be trusted and who will attack first? It was the morning of the third day, 6:30. I was driving into town for breakfast in my old road car. Bicycle, usually at this time the vegetable market, was buzzing with voices, steam from the shop with bods, the aroma, fried flatbreads from a nearby stall, and the sounds of bargaining. This is how a regular morning market should be. But today there is deathly silence here. The shutters in the diner are tightly closed. At the kiosk, there's no soul with pancakes. Only a few stray cats rummage through garbage. Thanks. I rock the bike forward, the soles of my boots clearly knock on the ground. I was startled by Xia Yuan's voice. It's Annie Lee. From grocery. She filled the bag with rice like crazy. Her forehead was covered in sweat. Aunt Lee, come back quickly. Don't linger in the city. She even heads. Doesn't pick it up and keeps stuffing rice into the bag with both hands. What happened? Something happened at the city hospital last night. Dr. Liu and the others, they are no more. Her voice trembled. Those sick people, they bite everyone they will see. From the end of the street came a series of engines. More than a dozen cars with other people's license plates in full speed rushed into the city, completely oblivious. On pedestrians' head, an SUV knocked down a fence at a gas station. The driver jumped out of the car and rushed to the column. His hands were shaking violently. He dropped the gun twice before he could hold it. His other cars surrounded the small store. The doors opened. People rushed. Rob inside bottled water, instant noodles, cookies, medicine. Tails grabbed everything that came to hand. Shelves were overturned. Glass was broken from household. Wang Tsang ran out of the store. What are you doing? You have to pay for this. A middle-aged man pushed him. Lives are at stake. Why the hell do we need money? And in this moment, I saw this. The back door of the last car was open. A middle-aged man fell out in hospital. Robbie. He lay face down on the ground, then slowly began. Get up. The way he got up was very strange. It were not the movements of a normal person. His torso leaned forward, arms hung limply as if the puppet was pulled by the strings. He went, each of his. The step was constrained, the legs dragged along the ground, making a rustling sound. An old van. Someone recognized him. You were in the hospital, man. In signal clothes suddenly raised his head. I could see his face. The skin was gray-white, like a corpse that had lain for a long time in the water. The eyes were open, but the look was empty, not focused. But the worst thing was that his mouth was open from the corners. Black blood flowed from his mouth. You could see meat fibers stuck on your teeth. He, he suddenly sped up and pounced on the nearest woman. His movements were so fast, not at all like that slow person. He grabbed the woman's hand with his teeth and tore out a piece of flesh. A heartbreaking scream broke the morning silence. Blood splashed 3 meters, staining the ground, walls and faces of people standing nearby. The crowd exploded and rushed into chaos. Someone ran to the cars, someone hid in the shops, someone turned straight into the alley. The bitten woman fell to the ground. She twitched in convulsions, blood gushed from the wound. The man in signal clothing did not pay attention to running away. He squatted down and continued to tear the flesh. Fallen woman. This sound is the crunch of bones being broken, the sound of tearing flesh, and a low growl coming from his throat. Zombie, that word just came out of my mouth. Scene from the film. Now it's playing out right before my eyes. My legs are shaking, but my mind says I need to run. Wong Can. I burst into the hardware store. Barbed wire, nails, hammers. Take as much as you can carry. Wang Tsang is still in a daze. What are you talking about? There is no time to explain what is outside. I jump over the counter and start raking. Everything in the bag. Barbed wire, shovels, hammers, nails, screwdrivers, wrenches. We take everything, which might be useful. Zhang Yuan, take me with you. Sister Zhao runs in with a first aid kit behind her, her face. She's pale. Pala City Hospital, there are rabid people everywhere. Bite people. Dr. Liu was bitten, and then he also started biting others. On the cart. I put things on the cart. Wang Tsang, are you coming or not? Wang Tsang looks at the chaos outside, then at us. Wait, I'll get something. He runs into the utility room and takes out some kind of tool. In a few urines, the three of us push the cart and run away. Along the path, the decision not to take the main road was true. Complete chaos reigns there. Screams, sounds of blows, and animal roars, everything mixed up into one cacophony. The path is very narrow, barely enough space for one trolley, on both sides, field. The rice hasn't been planted yet, everything is in the water. Wait, I suddenly remember something. Wang Tsang, you know how to fix things, right? Yes, naturally. I run a hardware store behind me. I lead them around. To Shishan, time is short, but this needs to be done right now. Old Acacia, I point to the wooden gateway. Help me fix it. Quickly, Wang Tsang examines him. The flail is rusty, the wood is rotten here and there, but the design is okay. Give me 20 minutes. He's a real professional. He's strengthened wire key components, lubricated the chains on the gates, and covered several holes with boards. What is this? Sister Zhao asked what this saving thing was. I said that it was left over from my grandfather, having repaired gates. We moved on. On the way, Sister Zhao discussed with the medical point of view. If it is a viral infection that transmitted through bites, the incubation period should be very short. The symptoms of those people are similar to rabies, but the disease is developing too quickly. Who cares what it is? The main thing is to survive, said Wang Can, dragging a toolbox. Returning to the farm, I immediately closed the big gate and reinforced it with wire mesh. From now on, this is our refuge. I looked at them. The rules are simple. All supplies are shared. We work together, distribute responsibilities, everyone obeys. By order. Those who agree stay. Anyone who doesn't agree can leave right now. Wang Tsang was the first to raise his hand. I agree. It's crazy outside. I definitely don't want to get bitten. Sister Zhao nodded. I am a doctor, and doctors are needed everywhere. Besides, I have a lot of medicine with me. True, they are veterinary. But in an emergency situation, they are also suitable for people. During the day, other people began to flock to the farm. The veteran, Brother Chun, came first. He carried his paralyzed mother on his back. Step by step, he climbed the mountain path. Seeing us, he immediately fell to his knees. I beg you, give us shelter. I'm a hard worker. I can stand guard. I'll take any job. I helped him up. We're all from the same town. Help if possible. Then primary school teacher Zhou Xia. There were 3 students with him, children whose parents had left to earn money. Their parents left to work. They were hiding in the school. Hearing a noise outside, they ran out. And finally, a family of deprivation of 4. This is the same one who loaded rice in the morning. He didn't bring only rice, but also pickled vegetables. The salted meat will last a long time. By sunset, 23 people had gathered at the farm. I called everyone to a meeting. Right in the yard. You all see what's happening. Something happened in the city. Most likely, this is some kind of contagious disease now. We are safe, but we don't know how long it will last. What kind of creatures are these? Someone asked about zombies. I answered directly, or infected. Those bitten turn into one of them. The crowd got worried. Quietly, Brother Chen stepped forward. Panic won't solve anything. Jan Yuan, tell us what to do. I turned. Grandfather's map of the area. The farm is surrounded on 3 sides by mountains, and only on the east. There is only one road leading to it. We need to build a defense on this road, dig out trenches, install a barrier. In addition, there is an underground river in Western Mountain. If necessary, water can be turned on. I'll do trench digging, and I'll remake farm tools into a weapon, Brother Chen said. Wang Can raised her hand. I will prepare the medicine. I will take care of the elderly and children, said the sister. Zhao. I am in charge of the food, said teacher Zhou Xia. Li Sen slapped his chest. Responsibilities are distributed. Everyone immediately got down to business. Night has fallen. In the town at the foot of the mountain, flames shot up to the skies. It is unknown who set it on fire and how many people are still left. Alive is also unknown. I stood on the highest point of the farm, looking at Nazarev in the distance. The signal on the phone completely disappeared. That happening in the outside world, we have no idea. But one thing is clear, the old world has collapsed, and the new world is just begins, and we must survive. I never thought that one day, with my own eyes, I'll see hundreds of zombies lining up in a column. And step by step they approach my farm along the mountain path. The one who walked at the head of the process was dressed in a torn white robe. His face was pale and frozen. I hardly recognized him as Dr. Liu, who had previously brought us medicine. Our hastily erected fortifications before this. The horde seemed incredibly fragile, like a house of cards ready to collapse at any moment. The survivors behind me looked at me. Horror froze in the eyes of the elderly and children. They were waiting for my order. And in my head at that moment, there was only one question. There are only 23 of us. Can we hold out? 7 days. All these 7 days we thought that, hiding in the mountains, we're safe. Every morning at 5 o'clock, I went out to plant seedlings. Rice. My feet sank in muddy mud. The freezing cold from the feet rose to the very top of the head. You bend down, take the sprout, stick it into the water. At a distance of 20 centimeters. You bend down again, stick it in again. The leaves of the seedlings and scratch the palms of many small cuts. They were mercilessly burned in the muddy water, but they had to be planted. All 15. That was all our hope of survival. The rest did not sit idle either. Brother Chun and several burly men dug. There are 3 ditches on the mountain path, each 2 meters deep. 3 meters. Wang Tsang converted farm tools into weapons. A sickle, tied to a bamboo pole, turned into lance. The blades were sharpened. Zhao Jia collected medicinal herbs and made decoctions from them. She also taught everyone how to make dressings. According to the instructions from grandfather's diary, we are on 3 turns of the mountain path. A barrier was installed. On the first one, they piled a pile of stones. On the second, there were sharpened bamboo tracks, prepared on the third. Wood piles soaked in diesel fuel. Everyone acted according to plan. My voice was calm, but only I knew how. My legs are shaking. I looked death in the face for the first time. More than 200 zombies, and there were only 20 of us. 3 people. Among them are old people, women and children. We went up to the second floor. Brother Chin began to arrange everyone into positions. The mountain path was very narrow at the narrowest point.